and I'm throwing up the V1 and the Jeff Hardy, pow pow. And they're like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm like, the WWE Diva. Yeah. And I'm not so angry on the inside anymore. And I just remind myself, like, there are plenty of things for me to be angry about. There's sacrifices that I make every single day that, I'm like, and I just channel that. I channel the old Haley. That's what I say.
I think the biggest compliment I can pay you, your work reminds me of Sherri Martel, like a young Sherri Martel, because
I get that a lot.
You get that.
I am sorry I put roaches in your bag, and I'm sorry I smoked. I believe that you create your own reality, and the way you speak is very important. You gotta want it for yourself.
Welcome to LiMPiN AiNT. I am your handy captivating host. My name is Timmy Baltimore. When you're big star bound, it's a long, hard road. And that's what LiMPiN AiNT, this program, is all about. We talk about that long, hard road to wrestling immortality. This week is pretty much what I envisioned this program to encapsulate. If you saw her on Netflix, the docuseries Wrestlers, then you know she's a star. And you no doubt have an opinion on her. She is the Boujhettoest Baddie. Her name is Hollyhood Haley J. And in a business that really favors the embellishment and the legend, she is refreshingly honest. Hollyhood Haley J coming on. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. It really helps us out here at LiMPiN AiNT, and I could use the help. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, here's a young lady whose shady past gave way to a very bright future. Hollyhood Haley J.
Yeah. I love my city, yes, about me, and I bet they know me. I love my city, yes, about me, and I bet they know me.
Welcome to LiMPiN AiNT. I am your handy, captivating host with the most metal in his body. My name is Brent Herring, affectionately known in some circles as Timmy Baltimore. And with me on this episode is the one, the only. Her name is Hollyhood Haley J. The Boujhettoest. What's the new term? Is there because you got to evolve, right? Where are we right now with the levels of Boujhetto and Boughetti?
Well, in life, I feel like I'm pretty bougie, but there's always that ghetto that's going to be in there forever. But as far as wrestling, I'm still the Boujhettoest Baddie, very much ghetto, very hood rat. And I don't think I want to evolve until it's the right time. But when I do, I'm going to be all bougie. I'm going to be a sophisticated young lady. No one will see it coming.
No, they're not ready for it, and this is the truth, What did I call you? I called you via text today, Bougie Brody. Because, well, let me. Just a little bit about what we do here on this show, and how that applies to someone like yourself, Haley. This is a show called LiMPiN AiNT. Basically, we take the best, the brightest, the most interesting individuals in the game of pro wrestling, sports, and entertainment, whatever you want to call it, showbiz, right? And everybody has a story, but not everybody has a voice. And we sit down and we dive into the hard part, like what really went down. What were the things that you had to face, you had to overcome, or still are overcoming? But the things that could have derailed you, right? Could have taken you one way or another, and you've had to really work hard to best those obstacles. And the hope in that is that, I know when I was texting you earlier, you're like, listen, because I tend to get a little, I don't know if it's poetic or grandiose, but I was like, your story is somebody else's story. There's somebody out there who is waiting and they don't even know it. They don't realize it, but your story may be the answer to them. And you're like, my story's my story. I really would like to dive into the dichotomy that is Hollyhood Haley J, because Haley, you are a dichotomy. Would you not agree?
That's $100 word. That's $100 word. Okay. I'm not the sophisticated young lady yet. You're gonna have to dumb it down. Oh, what?
Well, I really want to start though with something that jumped out at me, and I know everybody talks about the Netflix thing, and you're probably sick of. I don't know if you're sick of it. You sick of talking about it?
I definitely don't like to watch it, but yeah, 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 I'm sick of it. Everybody thinks they know who I am off this Netflix thing, and I'm just like, I told you what I wanted you to know. There's plenty more to my story that I didn't say on Netflix, and I'm just like, whatever. Everyone, what's the word? Perceives me as this, immature hood rat. I don't even want to say hood rat, just immature, like dumb, almost teenager, who's just making mistakes, act like I haven't grown up. The Netflix thing was filmed 2 years ago. My mentality has changed so much since then. Actually, it was filmed 3 years ago. It took a year to come out, and then it's been out for a year. So I don't know. I think it's good to let people know how much I've grown.
People forget this, don't they? Like they, number one, you're on a show that is going to magnetize and be attracted to who the stars are, who jumps off the screen. I just did a refresher course on the special because I obviously have a vested interest. I didn't start in OVW, but I got my break in OVW, and
Yeah.
that led to great things for me. But you're the first person we see. You're the first individual that we see on that show.
You hear my annoying voice first thing. I'm like, oh my God.
But they know where the bread is buttered. They know where the money is so
Right.
to speak, right?
Yeah.
Because you're somebody who jumped off the screen and you weren't hesitant one bit to speak your mind. You are as Iron
A
Sheik would
blessing and a
say.
curse. A blessing and a
Yes,
curse.
right? The real. You're the real.
I'm the definition of when keeping it real goes wrong. That's my whole life. I'm just like, Haley, shut up. Just shut up.
But, I think like something that you said that jumped out at me quite a few times is that I'm this angry girl. I'm angry.
Mhm.
I'm pissed off. I'm angry. And it's such a weird thing because you can sense that for sure when certain situations arise, but people have been through a lot. It's kind of we catch people off guard in the sense that like there's a dark humor. We don't really like to sell or complain about our problems, so people think nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
Because we had to be tough to get through it, correct?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So who is when you saw and you said you see that now, and I'm that angry girl. I was that angry girl. How do you feel about that statement today?
I definitely think that I've came a long way. I was just having a conversation with my trainer, my pops, Reverend Ronnie Roberts, and there was a point after the Netflix series. I'm like the ultimate baby face at this point, and um, I don't know. I think I was, working on my spiritual journey, and I was just trying to be positive, and I was speaking a lot of positive things, and positive things were coming at me, and I wasn't so angry. And I felt like I couldn't really channel that in the ring. So I'm just out here, like getting beat up. I'm not switching the gear and bringing the aggression like I need to. And I told him, I was like, I think it's because like I'm not so angry on the inside anymore. And he was like, well, you always have plenty to be angry about, you just got to channel it. But he said that he had other people go through the same struggles. So I was like, okay, whatever. And I just remind myself, like, there are plenty of things for me to be angry about. This sacrifices that I make every single day that, I'm like, and I just channel that. I channel the old Haley. That's what I say, because she's still there. That was an extension of me. That girl that they saw on the camera, the girl that I used to be, all of that is me. I've just grown up since then. and I want to do things the right way. And I was angry. I had a, shitty childhood. It started off great. Let me just say that. My mom was selling drugs, and we were, boom, living our best life. I had everything I needed. She was very good at like hiding what she was doing from us, kept us busy watching wrestling, watching Eddie Guerrero, Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio.
Ultimate worker, right?
Yeah, she was good. She was good. But, we're kids and we're growing up. We sensed weird things. Like we had cameras all over the house. Mom was always in her room. We weren't allowed to go in these certain places, So once we get older, we're figuring it out. And then once we got busted and robbed a couple of times, well, then we really figured it out. What was something like, well, that's shitty. And then she went to jail. And when she got locked up, that's when I guess shit really went south. Sorry, can I cuss on here?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Okay, well, that's when shit really went south. We started living with different people, from my auntie, my uncle, my grandparents. But it seemed like everywhere we went, we were a burden, me and my brother. And it was just like, I don't know. I got beat up a lot as a kid, and I even taught myself like not to cry because I would get in trouble for crying. I feel like I used to be a sweet little girl, but eventually you don't get your ass beat enough to where you're like, something clicks. You're like, fuck this. I'm starting to fight back. You know what I'm saying? So I think I turned in, clicked into a different mentality. And then, yeah, it started off there. A lot of anger came from there. And we go to my teenage years. Mom was out of jail at this point. She's trying to do it the right way. She's wrestling. I fell out of love with wrestling. So I'm, doing my own thing on the side, which was stupid, selling drugs, getting locked up for selling drugs, dabbling in some drugs, stealing.
So you're doing the street life deal.
Yeah. And I mean, I thought that was the way to go because my family was doing it before me. And I saw, what we could have. Even though I saw bits and pieces of the bad part too, I'm like, the money's worth it, it'll be fine. And there were times, there's things that my mama don't even know about. I wasn't talking to her for a brief, period of time throughout my teenage years. After I left, I moved out when I was like 16, I want to say. Slept in park sleds, slept in my boyfriend's car, couch surfing. And then eventually me and my man got an apartment with his cousin and her man. And that turned bad, ended up with all my things being thrown off the balcony and me getting kicked out of my own house, all these girls trying to jump me, Yeah. And then I got my own place in the PJs, and then now at this point I got to pay my own bills, so I'm still dibbling a little bit more in the street life. Now I'm starting to sell narcotics and marijuana and stuff, and I got robbed before I had Zayden. I got robbed at one point. I pulled up to serve somebody, and I guess he brought a friend with him, but I didn't know he was going to do that. So the one that I knew got in the front seat and somebody else got in the back seat.
Popped out.
Well, I turned to pick up, the stuff, and I turned, and boom, there's a freaking gun to my cheek. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay. And then I backed up like this, and I feel the other one, and I'm like, oh, okay. Here, just take it. Like, what? It wasn't even a zip. And you guys are... Right. I was like, take it. It ain't worth my life. And I'm sitting here in my car. They get out and run. I'm like, oh, I'm about to run in this. Okay, done. But you don't do it. So I went through that, before I had Zayden, and it didn't stop me. My friends over here trying to do the same thing. All females, young, 16, 17 years old, small, getting punched in their face by grown men, taking their money, their stuff. And it's just like, that lifestyle's not for us. It's just not for a little girl. Because they definitely gonna try you. I ain't have no protection either. I've always been against like getting a gun or whatever, just because I feel like my mentality is not, where it needs to be. And I might be too crazy, whether it's on myself or somebody else. I just quick to make decisions, emotional decisions. So I never would, have that to protect myself. And then, once I had my son, me and Deshaun, my baby daddy, broke up when he was 2 months old. I'm freaking working 8 to 8 at the Cracker Barrel, and this man sitting at home playing on his games, just very lazy, very spoiled, and I just couldn't get with that. So I'm like, boom, you gotta go. I can do better on my own, okay? So boom, I'm still doing the same thing, working at Cracker Barrel now, trying to do it right, but still trying to get it the fast way. And then the situation happened where I guess this girl set me up, and then the dude ran up in my crib, and he put the gun on me, not only me, but my child. And at that point, I'm like, man, you're a piece of shit. Like, you done seen a lot through your life, you know what I'm saying? Your mom has done a lot, but she ain't never had you held at gunpoint. So I'm like, okay, all right, this is where we're going to start to switch things up. Now, keep in mind, the whole time I'm doing all this dumb shit, I would have conversations with my friends. Like, I consider them my sisters, my two girls. I would tell them, like, I really think I can make money in this wrestling shit. Like, I don't know what it is, but I see it. I feel it. Like, I get it. And they're like, do it. I'm like, nah, I don't know. I didn't see my mom go through so much. I hated wrestling. Oh, I hated it. And then every single time something bad would happen, boom, it would just pop back up in my mind. Boom. Every single time. And then, yeah, once you hit the bottom, there's only one way to go. And that's up.
And that's up. And the thing about bottom is a lot of times we can choose what floor to get off of. And just not to get too traumatic with it, but what was that feeling immediately when the stick up boy put a weapon on your son? What did you what was in that moment? Was it immediately like this? I got this is it. I'm done. God, if you get me out of this, I'm done.
I'm sweating. So what happened was, okay. I thought everything was a joke. Let me just say that. The person came knocking on my back door. I had just took somebody's money earlier and didn't give them what they were supposed to get. So I figured it was him coming to the back door. He's the only one that does. So I'm like, oh, okay, boom. I open the door all freely and I see it wasn't him. So I like go to shut the door and I'm like, can I help you? And they're like, so-and-so sent me over here. Can I get an eighth? And I'm like, nah, you don't want that for me. It's too much. And I go to shut the door and he like busted in there with the gun on my eye. And I didn't, he like backed me all the way up to the living room. And I'm just like, I think in shock. Like, I don't think it's real until he like pushed me back on the couch. My son's on the couch and I'm like, sit back and I see that it's a gun. And, he just yelling at me, whoop, whoop. My son is on the couch, like handing him stuff that the dude just dumped out of my purse. He looking for money, whatever. Joke's on you, dumbass. I had just went to the bank. So I took all my money to the bank. I kind of like couple loose dollars, from work or whatever. And I think I had like 2 zips of marijuana. And, he took that and he dropped $5 on his way out. And he went out. Oh, well, I guess how I felt. Boom. I didn't think it was real. He like, take me to the bank, whatever. I'm like, no, I ain't doing that. Like, I got my kid.
Oh, he wanted you to take and use your ATM.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I don't got no money. Like, I don't got no money. I don't know what somebody done told him. He must have thought I was up because he was searching through everything. And I'm like, bro, I don't got no money. So then he put the gun on Zayden and I'm like, whoa, that's when it clicked for me. And I'm like, that's when I started like talking shit. I got in front, I put Zayden behind me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, really? Like, you got a child? Like, you're not shit. You know what I'm saying? And then he freaking ran out the back door and then came back. And I'm still sitting there in shock, like looking at Zayden. He come back. He like, give me your phone. I'm like, I acted like I was slow. I didn't know. I'm sitting on my phone, by the way. And I'm like, I don't know. This man came muscling me out the way, took my phone, ran out the back door. I'm like, shit. I take Zayden and I go outside. I start screaming. I see my friend, the girl who, helped convince me to wrestle. I see her, but we was beefed out at the time. So she's thinking that I'm coming outside to fight her. So she kick her shoes off, and I'm like, no, I need a phone. I need a phone. I need to handle this right now. And it was not handled, keep in mind. And no, I didn't call the police or anything like that. But yeah, man, I was just, after that situation, it clicked for me. I think I was 4 days later, I got my shit and I moved to Louisville and I started wrestling. That was it. I'm like, I'm doing things the right way. I don't care. I'm not ever going to put my son in that situation. Myself's one thing, but he didn't even ask to be here. And here I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So,
You say these things and you say that situation right there, and there's not, I'm sure a lot of people can't even fathom that. You know what I mean? Like, but that's how the streets are. That's what the game is.
Yeah, they don't care.
They don't. They're heartless. For 25 to life ain't nothing over, a corner bag. They don't care. Like, so because they're so traumatized themselves.
Yeah, they don't have anything. They don't have nothing to, they ain't got nothing to live for. I had Zayden. That was my whole setup. He was the one who kept me going. And then that shit happened. I was like, you know what? I got to do this the right way because I am not just putting myself in jeopardy, but him as well. And that's not right.
I think those experiences, it's a lot of people, most people would look at that situation, be heartbroken, be hurt, and say, well, what am I going to do? I got no options.
Mm-hmm.
And I think of you in that situation, and I think, well, okay, so you chose wrestling, you chose Louisville, but it's not like this was an easy choice. This is a difficult life. And
Yeah.
not only that, but it's made more complicated by the how it's sewn in to your family. You said you really fought it for a while, but what you also said you always kind of knew you'd be involved. What
Yeah.
about it did you love? What about it did you not when you started?
Well, first of all, I ran from it because, you know what? Let me back up. I always loved wrestling, always. Ever since we was a kid, mom always watched it. My brother had all the action figures. I love Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero. Those were like my top, And I'm petting you, girl. And the entrances and stuff really drew me to it. And I remember being in pageants and stuff, this little fat chubby girl on the stage, and I'm throwing up the V1 and the Jeff Hardy, pow pow. And they're like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm like, a WWE diva. Yeah. And, and I'm just like, people looked at me like I was crazy. Everyone laughed, like they all thought it was a game. But I knew back then, that I was like, that's something that I could do. Boom. And then my mom took me to my first indie show. I didn't know that this was a thing. I thought, only WWE and TNA.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
That was like, I only knew TV wrestling. And she took me to my first indie show. It was her friend's business or whatever. And she was taking pictures for them. And I was like, you could do this? Like, we can wrestle? Okay. And I'm like, I start elbowing her, like, you should do this. You should get into it. So she did. She went from taking pictures to starting off in wrestling. And let me just say, it was horrible. Where she started off was the shit,
Yeah.
drizzling straight through a screen door. I mean, horrible. She didn't get the proper training. We went to a lot of bad wrestling shows, and I'm like, this is not what I seen on TV. There's no personalities, no good storylines. Like this ain't it. You know what I mean? And then also, it kind of took my mom away from me in a sense.
Mm.
So I was younger when she first started. It's cool. She's bringing me with her. And then once she, I guess, gets going and stuff, all of a sudden I can't go to shows with her. And, she's gone all the time. And she would leave me with my dad, my real dad at the time, way back then. And, he didn't like me. I didn't like him. I didn't even really know this man. I didn't meet him until I was 8 years old. And now here I am, stuck with him. He don't like sports. He's a farmer. We have nothing in common. And you're a god in wrestling. And I'm just like, that kind of made me, mad at her a little bit. And then I start going with her again. And, it was kind of the same thing. Like, it was the shit. And I just seen like what she go through behind the scenes too. Like, I learned a lot about old school wrestling and respect and how the business is. And I didn't really like that. Like, you're not going to tell me that I'm a wrestle for a hot dog and a handshake because I love wrestling. You're not going to tell me that you can touch me any way you like because I love wrestling. Just a lot of things she went through that I'd be damned if I go through. So when I started wrestling, I had a whole totally different mentality going in than she did. I may love wrestling, I may be passionate about it, but this is a business and I have a business mentality, and that's it. And I think that's why I kind of, did a little better in my almost 5 years than she did, just because she loved wrestling. She would go wrestle wherever for nothing. She broke her back, she cracked her skull. Like, these people don't care about you. Not the fans.
Yeah.
The fans do care about us. And I love my fans. Don't get it twisted. But like the business, the game that we're playing, the machine. You go to the machine, guess what? You do something, break your arm, boom. Next one's in. Matter of fact, it might even be your best friend. Your best friend is going to walk over you to go take your spot on the stage. You know what I mean? Like, this is cutthroat. And you got to be a shark sometimes. And I think that's a lot of it. That's a lot of what made me not like it. And I'm also grateful though, because I knew what I was getting into when I started. But what drew me to it, the entrances, the drama about everything. And then once I actually got in there, me being able to hit somebody. All right, I'm gonna tell this story real quick. I remember getting in the ring, not the first time, but the first time in Indiana, because I had went to one training session while I was still before the gun situation with Zayden, right? I went to one
Right.
training situation with my pops, and I was learning how to bump and everything.
Is this at the arena in the famed
It
Jim
wasn't at the
Rotten
time.
Arena?
It
Okay.
wasn't at the time. This was in Paris, Kentucky at PTW, Larry D's school, right?
Okay.
So I went all the way out there, drove like 3 hours just to go hit my head over and over and over again, get yelled at over and over and over again, get blown up. And my two girls, my friends, they came with me to support me. And I'm just getting mad because I'm looking at them like, oh girl. And I remember getting in the car the 3 hours back. I'm like, man, this shit, I'm not gonna do it. Like, there's no way. I suck. I cracked my head 10 million times. Like, there's no way. Right. And they're like, girl, that was your first time. You got to keep going. You don't know. You just learning. So I was like, okay, they're not making fun of me anymore. Cause keep in mind, also in high school, people made fun of me because my mom was a wrestler, and I got into some altercations because people be
Yeah.
like, oh, your mom's a fake wrestler. You get beat up. And I'm like, well, I'll beat you up. So what? Let's go. Let's figure this out, you know?
Right.
And so they were very supportive, and it helped me. And then also, my mom and Rev were really supportive. So boom, I go to the arena finally. And at the time, my pops was not the trainer. It was Cheese, Raul.
Raul, yeah, Los Locos. I know
Yeah,
Cheese.
exactly, him. So he
Sleepy
was the trainer.
Cheese.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And I remember Billy Starks was 15 at the time. And I got in the ring, and we're learning how to do like strike exchange, right? And I remember getting in the ring, and she cracked me so hard. I was like, oh, like, this wrestling shit fake. Like, I just came from the streets, you know. Hold
Mhm.
on. I just have a different mentality. It's stupid, but I have it, right? So I go outside and I call mom. I'm like, yo, I don't know who this little blue haired girl is, but she just cracked me. Cracked me. And mom's like, that's Billy. Like, hit her back. She's in the ring, ain't she? And I'm like, she's 15. Mom's like, she's in the ring. I'm like, all right, bet. Click up. I go in there. Bow. Yeah, bow. Love Billy ever since. You know what I'm saying? She showed me that it was okay to bring out that aggression, because there was a lot of people that are like, they call it working, but it really don't look good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah, it's mhm.
I rolled in there thinking shit was sweet, and it wasn't. Okay, it wasn't. Yeah.
So the impact of, I mean, you've been really fortunate in some regards, right? You've had
Yes.
the impact of Reverend Ronnie as a
Hmm.
father figure.
Yes.
Um, how important was he in setting you on the right path that you needed to be on?
I'm so blessed to have Rev. Um, The thing about Rev is he always tell me one thing and he always ends up being right, but I never want to believe that at the time. But he doesn't like keep repeating himself and repeating himself. He'll tell me and he's like, okay, you'll learn. And then boom, he lets me go hit my head. And then once I come crawling back, he's like, see, you know?
Yeah.
But the thing about him is he never left. It didn't matter what him and my mom was going through. They're together. They're not, he done cheated on my mom, had another baby. My mom hates him. Like, it was a lot going on. Talk about some drama.
Right.
Um, and he was still always there for me, always. Um, yeah, still to this
Yeah.
day. That's my therapist. That's my pops. That's my mentor. He just has a great mentality and he's very intelligent. And I didn't have that before. Like I'm very much like my mother, hot headed, crazy, very emotional. I can sit back and see how much I have grown because I go sit at my Thanksgiving dinner, not this year because my grandpa was here, but last year my grandpa wasn't there. Everybody was wilding, and I'm just sitting back like, and you guys like this. Like, everyone's okay with being crazy and psycho. And I'm like, I don't want to be like that. And that's when I really knew, like, man, you're growing up. Haley J, you're doing good. Keep going.
Keep going
But
because you'll be able to make your own rules, you know?
yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
man, Rev's great. He's still here to this day. I call him about anything. He'll give me advice.
Al Snow comes into the picture. OVW comes into the picture. Uh, hell of an opportunity to go to learn to work television. For people at home that don't understand what that means is, we got live events in wrestling without a lot of parameters. But when we talk about working television, we're talking about money and investment in talent and making those minutes mean something. And you got a specific amount of time to what they
Sell
call
yourself.
get yourself over.
Yep. You're a commercial. Man, I've heard
Yeah.
it for so long. I got it now.
You want to get, yeah, do we want to sit here? We can exchange alisms till
uh,
freaking next Wednesday. God bless
yeah.
him. But it's kind of interesting to think about, like, I'm just trying to think of the timeline. So you get to OVW, start to learn to work a the business of wrestling, not just going out and getting your shit in, but actually learning how to draw money and how to
Right.
become a star and an attraction. And then there's new ownership, and then there's a Netflix deal. How close with your starting to learn what the light bulb going off, so to speak, to the new ownership, to the Netflix deal? How long was that period of time?
Okay, so I spent my first year of wrestling. I had my first match January 25th, 2020. And my first year of wrestling was at IWA Mid South, which took place in Jeffersonville at the arena. And obviously, I thought that was a great place to start out because a lot of great people wrestled there. CM Punk, Colt Cabana, everyone. Um, and I really learned a lot, even though my whole first year I just got my ass whooped. That's where I learned a lot about respect and, how to treat people in the locker room. And just, I was around, I would say, a lot of passionate people who were, you know, very serious about certain things. So I say that OVW saved me since because I was getting my ass kicked a lot. And
Mm.
there was point in times where I was like, man, I don't even know if I can do this. I was so small, like 108 pounds, wrestling dudes sometimes that just, slamming me down or whatever. And I'm just like, fuck. But I'm a tough girl, okay? I played football. I did all that. So thought I was a little boy. But OVW came during COVID. They needed an arena because Kentucky was shut down. And I'm still training and having shows. And yeah, I think part of the deal, Too Tough Tony was cool. He's like, yeah, you can use the building, but you gotta at least take a look at our trainees. And at the time, it was like me, Billy Starks, Alice Crawley, and we all got matches. And yeah, they picked me. Billy wasn't old enough to go back to Kentucky at the time, so she was great. It was just she wasn't old enough, and yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think Alice was either. They just Al Snow picked me up. He took me with him, and once life started opening back up, I went to Louisville, and things really started to click for me there because it was live TV, and I had to learn quick. I don't want people to be out here making fun of me. I already hit hard and I was aggressive because I came from a place that's all they wanted. They will call you out in the locker room in front of everyone. I remember Ian
Mm.
Ryan one time, pow, palm strike the fuck out of me. Sorry, in front of everyone. And I'm like, I looked straight at my mom. He's like, did it hurt? And I was like, no. And he was like, exactly. That's how you're supposed to do it. Like you were doing some pussy shit out there. And I think it was my combo, palm strike, backhand, super. And
Hmm.
so I always remember that, that's the place that I came from though. They're very, and I kind of miss that low key because now everything's very political and I say the wrong things all the time and, but,
What?
um, but anyway, so boom, COVID happened. Al picked me up. I learned how to be a superstar. I went there. I didn't even wear like the big lashes and stuff. Like, I don't think I even did my makeup. And I remember Al being like, dress for the job you want, not the job you got. Like, um, how to work the TV angles, how to be this larger than life persona. Like, no one ever told me except for Matt Jones, Al Snow, Reverend Ronnie Roberts, people that I, have respect for in this business, never told me to try to be a character or go be this or do this. They were just like, be you and turn it up. Turn it up. And Al Snow would be like, I'll tell you when to wind it back. And only one time in my career was he like too much, So I never really thought I was doing anything wrong because I'm being myself, which is why I think I took it so personal when I start wrestling and I get to OVW and one of my promos went viral and everyone just started shitting on me from then on out. It was bad too. I would sit up like 3 days just scrolling and scrolling and then trying to defend myself. Like, these people know me personally, and it made it worse. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And now all my notifications is turned off and no one can reach me or bother me.
The things that came up in the Netflix special that I think people hold against you or may have been kind of hot button issues, these are things that happen to everyone, a lot of people, and it happens a lot in the industry. However, kind of just yours was on Front Street.
Yeah.
People don't
And
talk about it. Go
I
ahead.
didn't realize that, I don't know. I guess at the time that was so stupid, because I'm like, but the smoking on camera, for example, like, I'm like, well, I don't really care because I'm epileptic and this is helping me with my seizures. So people can say whatever. But at the end of the day, it's illegal, in the state of Kentucky anyways. And I'm on camera in Kentucky showing exactly where I am. They give the address. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was all just so dumb and childish. I'm like, how stupid are you? And yeah, I don't know. I just didn't think about that at the time.
Because you were, yeah, I mean, well,
I was young. I
you're
mean, I can tell you
young.
plenty of dumb stories that I did as a teenager. When I went to jail for, selling drugs, I was literally texting. So I thought was like the party girl at my school or whatever, but it was her dad who turned out to be a cop. And I literally just I drove myself to jail. So talk about dumb. Like, I've made some dumb decisions and I learned from every single one of them.
Well, let's grab up all the shot callers in the industry and let's have them get honest, because you ain't the only one. And you know what I really like admired about one of the scenes in that show is the situation where, like there are a lot of talent they smoke weed, they smiz. It's just a thing that's been going on forever.
But they're
And
better at
as
hiding it than me.
right, well, you didn't even try. And
Yeah.
if they get there was one scene where you're like in Halloween makeup just looking after them.
Yeah.
I mean that was ill-advised at best.
Yeah.
But
And then I'm like, I go off the property. I'm like, okay, well, they don't want me to smoke here, so I'll just go over across the street. And I'm not on the premises. I'm following rules. I'm like, girl, what are you doing?
you were I know I mean, in my mind what you were doing was you were
Trying to show them that I followed directions.
yeah, that was your best attempt at following directions. And I also think you got like that chip on your shoulder that can sometimes get the best of you. And what's real and what people need, in my opinion, should give you more credit for is when you were confronted with well, first of all, there's a camera in your face, and it's not like they're discouraging you and going, "Hey, this probably isn't a good idea." They're probably like, "Come on, give us good stuff, because this is going to lead to an argument that we can record later, and it's good drama." But when like, I just think like when you were confronted in that Dani Mo situation, which is, we don't have to speak on it, is what it is.
I'm trying to speak on it.
Okay, yeah. Because I mean, I've seen a lot of I've been around for 25 years. There's a lot of guys who would and I'm, I've been an announcer, writer, booker, commentator, whatever. So I'm not a bump and feed guy, obviously. So my circumstances are different, but it's like it was always kind of like an understood rule that if your work doesn't suffer,
Yeah.
then it's kind of like don't ask, don't tell kind of deal.
Right.
And
that was my thing too. I'm like, have I ever hurt you in the ring? Like, we worked plenty of times. I've probably smoked before every single match. And I don't, I do recall, she says this never happened, but I recall this one time that she had brought up about smoking and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I do. And she was like, well, can you not do that before you wrestle me? I said, yes, I respected her opinion. I didn't smoke. We had a shitty ass match. And I was like, man, sorry about that. I wasn't, like feeling myself or whatever. And she was like, yeah, maybe you should smoke. And then the next time I did, we had a way better match. And she was like, oh yeah, everything's fine. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then it was after that she went and told everybody, or told the office. But the main thing, okay, here's the thing that nobody knows about how that whole situation started. Apparently, I was on dark first, and then I was complaining in the locker room about being on dark. So Al Snow switched me from dark to TV, when in reality, I was on dark. Al Snow realized that I was, in a storyline or whatever, and that needed to be on TV versus on dark. And Facade, Danny Moe's boyfriend, and somebody else was in a throwaway match. So they switched it, right? That's all it was. I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't realize that me being like, oh, I'm on dark match, ha ha ha, just my ego, young Haley J talking in the locker room, would have so much, whatever on Al Snow that he would switch it. That's not what happened. It was Al Snow's decision. I don't have any say so in this shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Zero creative control. Let me just say that.
And anybody that has any inkling or understands Al or has worked with Al knows that
he changes things. Like,
he changes things, and your opinion, the boys' opinions don't, and the girls' opinions do not hold
matter.
sway.
Nothing. So what happened though was that match that got switched, Facade ended up getting hurt apparently. So this is what started the whole drug and alcohol things, because whoever was wrestling Facade apparently was hired something. I'm unclear on that, but something. And that's why they went to the office and started complaining about stuff, right? So then that got out to the boys, and everyone was like really plotting on beating Facade up. But old locker room. I'm just being honest, like locker room rules type shit. And instead, Cash Flow was like, held a locker room meeting and was trying to be mature about it, and just called them straight out and was like, look, we don't like this, this, and this. And if you don't fix it, then get out. You don't belong here. And Danny Moe was quick to stand up and be like, oh, my man, this, da-da-da-da-da. You guys drink and smoke here. Even Al drinks. And we're like, Al drinks his whiskey after the show.
Bad move.
It's just crazy. Yeah, she was taking it way too far. And then I was like, oh, okay, so you did tell them, like, you did go to Matt and say that I was smoking or whatever. And she was like, yeah. And me being where I am, who I am, where I've been, what I've seen, that has never happened to me. No one has ever came up to me in my 20 years of living at that time and said, yeah, I just snitched on you. Basically, that's what she did to me, right? So I was like, start twitching, start talking shit. I walk away. This is how you know I'm trying to grow up already. I know that it's wrong, but I'm still young. So I walk away and I go up the stairs, and I'm talking to myself, like, dang, this bitch crazy. She really just said that, just talking to myself. And somebody, not gonna name no names, was like, I know you're not talking shit. If you're gonna do something, then do it. Or if you say you're gonna do something, then do it. What? I did a 360, ran down the stairs, hit a Euro step, threw the weakest punch I ever threw in my life. I threw one punch at Dani. I didn't get no more. That was it. Okay. That was it.
Yeah,
and then my pops, Reverend Ronnie Roberts, straight snatched me up, took me to the hallway. Dani and my mom started arguing. That was the end of it. Al Snow tried to tell me to apologize that night. I was like, okay, yes. She was like, no, I'm not having it. I'm leaving. So she left, called the police or whatever, I guess. Nobody ever showed up. Yeah. She told me the last time I apologized to her, she told me that she has assault charges on me. And I'm like, well, that's not true, because I would have got some kind of papers or something served to me, but whatever. I did try to apologize. I'm gonna be honest. The first time they told me I was gonna be fired from OVW when I originally hit her. So I was suspended for 6 weeks, and I had to come back with an apology to Dani, or I couldn't come back, right? That's what they originally told me. But the Netflix people seen Boom, a big, bright, shining star, and they were like, we want Haley. And they made it very clear to Matt Jones that they wanted me. So Matt Jones was like, you can come back, but you're going to have to apologize on camera to Dani on Netflix. And I was like, okay, bet, whatever, apology, done. So I went in there with like the open mind, trying to really apologize, but also just wanting it to be over. And, I was kind of like, the real me, me being me, was like, I snook her because she was in the middle of talking when I ran and hit my Euro step or whatever. So I was like, I'm not that type of woman to like sneak you. That's not how I am. I'm not about jumping. I'm always, I want you to know you about to get beat up, right? So I told her, like, you can get your mouthpiece and put it in. We could go outside and handle this, or, whatever. Like, I'm sorry. There's nothing else. That's all I got. Either handle it or accept the apology. And she was like,
But
oh,
it's got to be done today. Like, we got to be done
yeah.
with this.
But she was like, it was all fake for Netflix or whatever, whatever. And she just kept saying she wanted me fired. She wanted me fired. And Matt was like, I can't do that. He didn't say, oh, the Netflix people want her, so I can't do that. He just said she's not under any contract, so she can't be fired.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. Dani leaves. She chose to leave. She chose to not be a part of the Netflix documentary and everything because I was there. She wanted me fired so bad and they wouldn't do it. So she left and missed that opportunity, okay? Because she was in there. I remember seeing the first Sizzle Reel. They had their spots. Besides this little flippy stuff, they were in there. But she chose to leave because she didn't want to do business with me. So whatever. Boom. Years go by. Oh, hold on. Let me back up. There's more to the first story. If I'm gonna be honest, I'm be honest. That's all I got.
Shoot. Come on.
All right. So boom. The Netflix apology time. I had a plan B. I was like, okay, she don't accept my apology this time. I got something for that ass. Right? And at the time I was living in this raggedy apartment that had mad roaches. I mean, roach infested. It was gross. Okay.
I know
And
where you're going.
yeah, I cut up some raw onions and I sprinkled them on the kitchen floor. And I went in there about 5 a.m., boy, and there was roaches everywhere. And I tried to scoop them in a jar real quick as much as I could. Boom. Had the jar of roaches, live cockroaches. Had a jar, and I took it with me to OVW. And there was also, other people that were upset. This wasn't a one-man job. Let me just say that. Like, if you're part of a locker room, we're family, and we stick together. So it wasn't just me. There were some boys involved, none of the girls, which is funny because she thinks the girls were involved. But it wasn't any girls, just me and then three of the other boys, right? Boom. Did the apology. She didn't accept it. She was making a big deal in there. Like, where am I supposed to change that? I can't go in the locker room. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, Al gave her his office. She had her own space. Well, boom. The night went on. She went out to wrestle. Her man was, in the locker room, not doing anything, not being on good supervision, that's for sure. And we had one person watching their match, one person watching him. Two people went into the office, did the deal, and then came out, and then we all just kind of left. And then that was my version of Randy Orton shitting in your bag.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, she came back from her match. She didn't notice it at first, and then she did. She was like, the hotel gave me roaches. And that was all she said. So I was like, dang, that really didn't do anything. But then she went to the internet. I guess she figured it out because she saw the onions. So she went to the internet and was like, put raw onions and cockroaches in my bag. And I was like, yeah, I did. I did do that. And that was petty and that was childish. And I'm sorry. I did apologize for that as well. That's just, that was my funny haha, I guess. And then boom, so years go by after all this. I see her at WrestleCade, not this year, but last year. And before the show, there was the show's on Sunday. That's the last day of the convention. So Friday and Saturday, she was there at the signings and everything and at all the after parties and everything. And I could just feel that the energy was like, it was off. And not even like, we know she don't like me or whatever, that's fine. But every time I come in, she could be in the middle of a conversation and whoever she's talking to sees me and they're like, oh, hey, Jay, automatically start putting me over. It's getting to the point where she's trying to tell people like, oh, don't talk to her. And they're like, girl, bye, and it was lame. At the end of the night, I remember the last night of the party, at the end of the night, we were all up here partying and it was like her and her man down here by themselves. And I'm like, it shouldn't be like this. I should not have that much power over anyone. So like, me trying to grow up, I want to fix this for real. So that way you can have fun around me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I shouldn't make anyone that uncomfortable. I am not, you know what I'm saying? Like,
they did that to themselves though a little bit, but yeah, go on. But
boom, I freaking see her at the show the next day. She's right in front of me. She got her back against the wall. You know what I'm saying? She ain't taking no chances. I ain't upset about it, but I'm like, I still feel some type of way. I can feel that she's uncomfortable and I don't like that. So I'm like, boom. Took it upon myself to just go have a conversation with her. And I waited till after the matches and everything for the record. I went and I was just like, hey, I know, you don't want to talk to me, but I just like to get this off my chest for me. I want to start off by apologizing, whatever. And she was like, who put the roaches in my bag? And I was like, well, I'm going to take me, because that was the first thing that came out of her mouth. I'm like, hey, okay, well.
That's the thing. That's like the big issue for her. Stop. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm like, okay, well, okay, cool. And then I told her though, I'm like, I'm taking credit for all that because I'm trying to end the drama right here. And if I sit here and name drop, then that's just starting more drama. Like that's not what we're doing. I'm trying to end it, right?
I'll eat the shit. I'll eat the shit. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah. So so then she starts cutting the best promo I've ever heard her cut in my life. Like she was tearing me up, dog. Talk about she should have took my mama's kneecaps out. She was talking about how she feels sorry for my son. Like she told me, she said, I have real fucking muscles. I can really beat your ass. You think you're so hood? And I'm just like, I'm sitting here, I'm eating all this because she got all this built up anger in her. So I'm like, get it out. Do it, girl. So I'm just sitting here, just like, okay, yeah. And then whenever she brought up my son, that's when I ended it right there because I'm like, all right, at this point, you've already been trying to provoke me, everyone there, when they see me go up to her, all my friends, all the girls are side-eyeing, sipping their tea, just waiting. My girl Maz is like, please don't do anything stupid, Haley. Like, this is not the place. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to make things right for real. And so, yeah, I did that. I was like, look, I'm going to stop you right there because this ain't really going anywhere. And I'm not going to have you sitting there talking about my child. Because
where was that promo on TV? Why couldn't you bring that energy out when the cameras were on?
Man. She was so angry and felt it. But the crazy thing is, like, after that, I went out to reach her hand. She was kind of hesitant, like, but she shook my hand. And I'm like, cool, boom, into that situation. And then, like, 30, 40 minutes later, she came up to me and told me, like, oh, I'll never wrestle you. Like, I still don't trust you, but I feel better about the situation. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Thank you. And she was like, Poseidon hates you, and I'm like, would you like me to apologize to him? No, I don't. No, he's too busy for that. He doesn't care. So I'm like, okay, well then, that's all. I did what I needed to do. Right. So I thought that was it. I really thought, like, you know what? I feel good about that. She said a lot of things. Hopefully she feels better about it. Like, boom, it's dead. And then I don't know what happened, but she was back on the internet over again. Maybe the Netflix thing dropped or something. I don't even know. But I was just like, what the? I thought we were done. Like, what else do you want from me? There's nothing else I can do. I'm sorry. I am sorry. If you're watching this right now, Dani Mo, I am sorry. I put roaches in your bag, and I'm sorry I smoked. Okay.
Not jiving into your business about anything, but when you look back on that and you think back on that, is that something that you go, man, that really just that doesn't sit well with me now? Or were you like, that it is what it was a relationship and that's what it was?
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I don't like watching the Netflix thing. So I've pretty much only watched it one time. I binge watched it when it came out just to kind of see, I'm like, oh my God, they recorded so much stuff for so long. I feel like they followed me everywhere. I'm like, I know I've done cussed out some people, got frustrated here. Like there's no telling what they're going to put out here. So I was really curious,
Yeah.
And a
little scared too, probably.
Yeah. And then, I watched it and I'm watching it with Eric when we watched it. And first of all the girls are like, they're texting me, we're trying to like talk about it and everything. And he's already mad. Like, can we just watch it without you text on your phone? You're always on your phone. Da, 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 da. So I'm like, okay, put the phone down and we're watching with him. And then like, we get to the parts where he's clearly hating on me and stuff. I'm just looking like, and he's so proud. He was so proud to be on TV and everything. And yeah, that kind of sucked. But anyways, I didn't really get to feel the emotions then, I guess, just because I was still stuck in the situation.
Yeah.
But I got out, and this was just probably like 2 months ago. Me and him has been split up for at least a year now, which no one will ever believe because I used to say all the time, like, oh yeah, we're not getting back together. That toxic relationship, break up, get together, break up, get together. Well, it's been over a year, I think. I don't know, I wasn't counting, but I'm pretty sure. And yeah, I've done better. But like 2 months ago, my phone was dead. So I had my son's tablet and I was on Netflix and the wrestlers popped up and I was like, let me just throw this on and see what's popping. And it went right to the scene where like he's talking about whenever he got drunk and was trying to fight and stuff and he ended up fighting my pops. And I'm just like, oh, this is embarrassing. You know, I start crying, and I'm
Yeah.
not a crier, but it's funny. Just like, you know, the anger goes away when you know, start to do better in life and you try to be positive. The sadness I've kept in for so long, I guess, just comes out randomly. And I'm like, I can't hold in my cry as good as I used to. And that annoys me because I don't like to cry in front of people or anything like that. But I'll just be watching something. It could even be a movie, something so dumb. Somebody telling me a story, like I'll get emotional now. And I'm like, ugh, I hate that because I can't control it. But I think it's because I'm getting old.
It's what it is. It's what it is. Let me tell you something, Haley. It happens to me. Like I used to think like being young, I was so tough and like I could handle anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Horrible. Like I'm human cannon fodder my whole life, just shot
Yes.
out of a cannon. And
Yeah.
I you know, a few years back went to just get like blood drawn or something real simple, and I went like a complete disassociation of my body, like
Yeah.
completely traumatized. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And you know, and just what it is these things that served us, those blocking it and putting it in a closet or burying those emotions that
Yeah.
served us, that helped us survive when we were younger, they don't do us any good anymore because we're older now, and they're
Yeah.
they're like zombies coming out of the grave.
Yeah. It just
And
starts leaking.
yeah, and you're like, why am I crying about this
Yeah.
commercial? Or
Yeah.
what the hell is going on with me? And it's in my, you know, if doctors will tell you, like shrinks will tell you, it's unresolved like trauma. And um the good news is like there is like talking about, there's ways
Good
to
to let it come
reframe
out.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you can't bury all these bodies and expect it to just go away. And that's completely understandable to me, that as you grow older, you get, because it happened to me, you get a little more emotional. I know, um, you know, everybody, you know, it's interesting to hear, you know, I wouldn't have come out and said the relationship was toxic because that's not my
Okay.
business to say, but you did.
Yeah.
And that's what it
It
came.
was.
And yeah. And I, look, man, I've been in plenty of toxic relationships myself. And, uh, looking back with like immaturity, some of the things that I thought weren't my fault, or you know, whatever the case, now I'm able to look back and go, here's where my part was, and here's where I was culpable. And
Exactly.
yeah, it's just, there's some things, you know, uh, like when I had to make your blood boil. It said there was a line where it was like, these girls are getting shit handed to them, and it's fucking disgusting. Was one of the things that my head almost fell off with that, and I go, that's his girl, man. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta be happy for this woman. And what hurts about it is the struggles you've been through. Like, even with your support system, you're still in the fight against the
Yeah.
wind. Like,
Yeah.
when does
I
it
feel
get
like he's supposed
easier?
to support me, but he wasn't that supportive, which was weird because I feel like it started off differently. You know, it started off, it's like, oh, you're the best that OVW has, hands down. Like, you know, and then even like at training, I remember he went to training with my coach Rev, and they started arguing because Rev put some newbie in there who was learning how to throw punches, and Rev wanted him to practice on me because A, I'm a girl, and B, the kid was scared. So it was just kind of like I don't know, his some kind of teaching, you know, mechanism or whatever. And Eric was yelling at him like, "She's too pretty. You're gonna let him punch her in the face?" Woo. And I'm just like, thinking back on that now, it's so funny. But
Right, right.
but it went from that to like, you know, him being at home miserable about his own life. That's what it really boils down to. He was miserable about his own life. He has, you know, his own mom issues. He hates his mother. He has his own shitty story. He really did get, you know, a horrible end of the deal, but it's all about how you take it and what you do with it. That's what I think. And if you don't want to be helped, then can't nobody help you. And that was my problem. I thought, oh man, I see this broken man that has so much potential. He's so
Hmm.
talented, but like he's broken. His mental's off. Let me help him. Nope. You're going to break yourself in the process of trying to help somebody else. Worry about you. Get your own mental right. Because I was nowhere near the place that I even am now. And going into that toxic relationship as a immature young woman, an angry young woman, I'm swinging too. Like, it started off with him pressing the right buttons and me punching him in his face. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think that just gave him an excuse to do it back later on, or whatever the case may be. It was, oh, you hit me first. You've hit me plenty of times. But yeah, you knew what you was doing, bro. You knew
Yeah.
exactly. Like, this man would snatch my blunt from me. That's how I would go calm down. I know it's not a good, thing, but it's my Band-Aid for sure. So I would go get angry and try to smoke, and he would come and like snatch the blunt, antagonize me, like all kinds of stuff, bro. He knew how to push buttons. And then he would just talk shit about everyone, even at every OVW, everyone around me, my friends outside of wrestling. I wasn't even talking to them anymore. Like, I just felt like if it wasn't him, it's either him or nothing. And then he's still telling me constantly, I don't support him. I'm always on my phone. I give everyone else attention. Like, I'm just like, what? None of it makes sense to me. And we would fight over the dumbest stuff, mostly about wrestling. And then our kids, we had different views about the kids, which is the main reason. One of my biggest sacrifices yet. We'll get into that later, maybe on the wrestling struggles. But yeah, just that toxic shit in front of the kids. That's not what I'm going for here. I'm trying to build an empire. I myself have never had like a home. Plenty of houses, people living with us. Something's always going on. Like, I never had a home, with pictures on the wall and a mom and a dad and like a white picket fence, right? That's what I'm going for here. I'm trying to build an empire. I want a nice big family. I want like 3 kids, you know what I'm saying? With a man who's going to provide and protect and have, moral values and core values and stand on them, like,
and support you.
Yeah, that's a big part of it because, we're a unit, we're one. And when you're down, I have to pick you up. And when I'm down, you have to pick me up. So that's really big to me. And Eric, he just wasn't getting that. You know what I mean? He was very stuck in his ways and he was way older than me. So who do I look like? What can Michelle say? Can't raise a man? Yeah, that's right.
It's all, we're all like, and I don't want to come down, it's just, but we're all products of our own trauma and our own environment. If we haven't but as a man, it's our job to grow. It's our job to see, okay, this is broken about us. We got to figure this out because it's our jobs, in my opinion, to support, love, and be there for our woman, for our significant other. And like, real love is like when you forget. My girlfriend says this. It's corny, but it's cute. It's like when you forget the song in your own heart, I remember it for you. And it's like, damn, all right, that's what's up. That's what's up. I'm really happy that you'll get what you want. You'll get what you want and you'll get where you want because you're always you're not a finished product.
Right.
It's always growth.
I'm not I don't hate Eric or anything like that. I'm actually pretty grateful for our situation. I don't ever have any regrets on anything that I do because everything is a lesson and I'm always learning. And he taught me a lot, about myself, a lot about God, a lot about, I think he taught me, the biggest lesson that he taught me was that I am not Hollyhood Haley J. I am Haley J. And there is a sweet, little girl in here who wants to be calm, cool, collected, but I've had to be in fight mode my whole life. So I'm kind of amped up, But yeah, I learned that with him because I did in wrestling. Why I hit Danny Moe, why, I was doing all this dumb stuff. It's because I still believed I was living that lifestyle, or I still have some of that mentality left in my brain. And then taking a step back from him, even though he was trying to get me to open up and stuff to him, which would have been stupid if I did anymore. It was just like, it was an eye opener for me because I realized I had a lot of the same habits that my mom had. Like, I took a step back and just seeing things in a different perspective. So I'm grateful,
I think there was a little bit of passive aggressive push or encouragement to kind of bury Matt Camp, the new owner.
Matt Jones.
Matt Jones, rather, the new owner with the talent. I think like that was part of the power struggle that was kind of above the talent's pay grade, but it seemed like there was instances because you go, I'm not going to talk bad about him, but I fucking hate him. You'd go and talk completely bad about him. So it's like when I saw that, I go, you're not wrong, because here's this guy. I mean, it was pretty obvious that this guy was out of his element, right? And
Yeah, man, he just knew nothing about wrestling. And our first conversation as like him as the new owners, that shit didn't go so high for me. You know, they, I was already late, first of all, because I was in a car accident. Somebody hit me, and I was right up the street from them, and somebody hit me, and I'm calling mom, like freaking out, like, oh, somebody hit my car, whatever. And she's like, oh, just come get here. I get there. He said something about me being late, and I'm like, did I not just tell you that I was in a whole? My car was totaled, by the way. Like what? So then,
didn't even say if you're okay. Yeah.
you know, it was very like, you know, I understand you're in a car accident, but we don't like to be late for things. Okay, I'm like, yeah, because I like to be late. And then, you know, they sent mom out of the room, and it was just me and Matt Jones. Just really, he asked me some questions, you know, that were like, you know, you should really change your name, you know, Hollyhood. You're not black. Did someone black give you that name? Like, just a lot of dumbass shit. And told me I couldn't say ghetto. Told me I couldn't say Boujhetto. He was like, that's not who you are. Basically, just telling me who I am and what I can and cannot say, and trying to encourage me to change my persona. And, you know, and I took it very personal.
To what? What was his great idea that you should have been?
He didn't really get into it. I just said, okay. You know, I guess he left it there for me to think about. But
so what you're doing sucks, and I have nothing better to offer idea wise. Go figure it out. No, yeah.
Yeah. So I just kind of, you know, he's new and he's supposed to be paying us, because before we wasn't getting paid at OVW. So now we're supposed to be getting paid. So I'm trying to shut up and just say, okay, yes, sir. And just eat shit. And then I go to the car and I'm like, let it all out on mom. Like, who does he think he is? Like, how you going to tell me, you know, whatever. And then mom tells Al, and Al's like, I had a conversation with him, and Matt Jones left me alone ever since then. And then once the Netflix comes out, it's like, I'm Matt Jones' favorite wrestler and all this, that, and the third. And I think it just took him some time to realize that I am who I am. And also that conversation, like, you sound racist. Tell me all these things.
Right.
And that a white person can't say, like, that's racist. That's stereotypical bullshit, and it's stupid. So I'm just not hearing that. But I didn't know. Oh, I guess I learned from the Netflix stuff myself, you know, about other people, and Matt Jones having epilepsy. I kind of obviously felt, what's the word, empathetic with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was vulnerable. I talked about my rape situation, talked about several things, but I did not have a seizure on camera. And I can't even tell you that if I did, I don't think I would have allowed them to use it. You know what I'm saying? So there was a different type of respect that came from that, with me being epileptic and going through that myself. And then there was a part where he was talking about, you know, the worst part about having the seizure is just coming back and like seeing everyone's face and how worried and like scared and everything. And I'm just like, man, that really is the worst part. I hate it. I hate when people giving me that type of attention like that. Oh, I'm so sorry. You know, I hate that shit. And, you know, generally, personally speaking, from personal experience, it scares people. Like, they don't know what to do. And I feel really bad when I put somebody in that situation, you know? So I kind of had a different opinion on Matt Jones after that, just because he did that and opened up like that. But he hasn't told me anything, you know, don't do this. He's been very supportive ever since. And,
Good.
you know, he got to learn the business. Not everybody's going to like you, especially if you're calling our fans dummies and whatever, you know.
Wrestling weirdos.
Yeah, like, you sound stupid, bro. That's the only reason why I have a home. So
yeah, you don't know what you don't know, right?
And he just don't know. He don't know.
You don't know. And how many times have we seen people? I mean, that were successful in other areas think they can come into this thing, and this thing is unlike any other thing. This thing of ours.
Beast. It's a beast.
It's a beast, and it's the most abusive relationship any of us will ever be in, because
For sure. Talk about a toxic relationship. Me and wrestling.
right. I I wanted to ask you too, like, about life after Netflix, and as you're moving on, and you really you get past the hurdles of the tangible uh, misunderstandings or dislike or hate or whatever, and people start to go, well, this is her. And
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
I know when you after you worked Empower, which was the NWA, Mickie James produced with NWA and Billy Corgan, the first all-female wrestling pay-per-view, that you came to Mickie James's masterclass,
Yeah.
which was really a cool opportunity for a lot of people, because it was like unprecedented access and a lot of
It was
lessons
awesome.
learned. Yeah, and me personally, I took it as such an honor, because to be given that trust to work with the ladies, like, it's different, right?
Yeah.
Because this business is so full of creeps and weirdos, and the stuff you ladies have to deal with,
Oh, yeah.
to not know where people are coming from, what their intentions are, what the deal is. You know what I mean? These giant supporters, we love women's wrestling, women's evolution. It's like, okay, let me see your search history, freak.
Hmm.
So, like, but like, to be asked to do that was like, I was like, that's really that was really important to me, because I said, damn, I did something right. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I did something right. And um, the first day of that, you got your lip busted.
Yep.
I mean,
6 stitches. Yep.
busted, like, up
It's split
here,
open all the way.
oh,
Yep. All the way to
all
my.
the way. And
Yeah. What a good time. I got in there so confident, y'all, that I was going to do something. I was like, come on, Jay, let's get in here. Let's do it. We worked together a million times. Come on. First thing we did, pow, kicked me right in the face. I'm like, oh, everyone was worried about her at the time because she had like a little cut on her leg and it was bleeding. And I was
not
like, oh,
me.
okay. I was like, oh, okay, it's fine. I go and I spit in the trash can. And as soon as I spit, I felt my lip just, and I was like, oh no. And then here you come. Oh, we're going to have to get stitches. I'm like, no, fluid, it's fine. I'm like, yeah, yeah, that
I was,
happened. I was very
yeah,
salty.
I was proud also to be the only sensible human being there
Yeah.
in that moment,
Yeah, you
because
were you were the only one that came up. Everyone was kind of worried about her leg, but her leg was bleeding, so I'm not faulting anyone. And I got straight out of the ring and went to the trash can because I was like, uh-oh, I think I'm bleeding too. Let me spit this out before anyone notices. But then it just kept bleeding, and I was like, oh well,
see,
no
I
way hiding
knew.
this one.
I knew though, dude. I knew, because I knew, number one, you can't super glue the inside of your mouth. Number
Yeah,
two,
no.
this is a cosmetic business. You're in your mid 20s. You
Yeah.
that wouldn't have healed correctly.
Uh,
Everyone's like, tough it out, get back. No, 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 no. She needs to go do this.
yeah.
So thankfully, everybody, and you didn't want to, because it was day
I definitely
one.
didn't. Yeah, I was so salty. It was day one. We drove 11 hours, to be there and be a part of that. And I was so excited, really, to just show Mickie that I could wrestle, or like what I knew, because, she, picked me for the NWA thing, but I ended up having to be the manager because I was the best mouthpiece out of the group. And I was disappointed in that. And I feel like now it's my time to show Mickie what I could do since she didn't get to see me wrestle. And then, yeah, got kicked in the face. Wayne got stitches. Thank God you were there. We said a long, long time at the hospital. I was so scared. I'm so tough, but I've only had stitches one other time in my life. I actually completely ripped my nail off in my nail bed, and they stitched the fake nail to my finger. And that was the only time I had stitches. It was creative, but it
Yeah,
saved my nail too. But yeah, I was terrified. I was like, oh, what do you feel like? Oh, just sitting here dripping blood, nervous as hell. And I waited for hours, hours,
hours.
hours. And then even after you left and the friends finally came to sit with me, the people I came with finally came to sit with me and you left. We sit there for even more hours. they came in, started arguing with each other. We were all in there arguing. I think that's even what got the damn nurse to come in and start stitching me up. They're like, let's get them out of here. I'm like, bet. But when she came in, it was so funny to me because I know that I was freaking out. Like I know
Yeah,
that
I
you
did.
know.
I did. I didn't.
And,
Because you're so tough, and I didn't want you to feel. But I recognize that fear because I've been in situations, and I felt
yo,
so
and I was
bad
sitting
for
there.
you.
As soon as she put the needle in my lip, though, it was in the womb. I didn't feel any of it. And then, boom, everything was numb all of a sudden. She sewed it right up. And I was just like, wow, I wish she was here to see that. You did the hard part with me sitting all day while they got to finish the camp, go get themselves some food, some ice cream, do whatever they want to do. And then they could come join me. You sat there the whole time and didn't even get the finished product.
That's okay. That's what happens. That's what we do for each other.
Yeah.
I
And I
actually should.
appreciate that.
Yeah, but I shouldn't even left. When I did, it was Mickie though was kind of adamant that they come and sit
Yeah,
by
and
your
Mickey's a
side.
girl's girl, and Mickey's a girl's girl, and she knows because that's what she
Yeah,
would have done for her friends, and she knows that. So she, yeah, made him do that, which I appreciate. Yeah.
she's ride or die, and it's like I know you're disappointed,
Oh,
but
and then I get my lips stitched up. I go back, and what do? We get practice matches, and stuff. And she's like, "Oh, be careful. No,
careful
don't do
out
it like
there,
that."
yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't get a practice match. I gotta manage. I'm like, Mickie, didn't I tell you I'm a wrestler? She's like, I know, but you're live. I'm just like, whatever. So then when they had the actual show though, I convinced them to let me wrestle and
The
Mickie got
six
in there and
person.
punched me in the face and I was so excited. I was like, and I had a mouthful of stitches. Nobody even knew I crushed it.
You killed it. Here's the thing: if people at the audience here has not had the pleasure of watching your work and watching Haley J perform, I'm sure a lot of people have heard you talk, heard the
Yeah,
promos.
right.
That's a big part of it. That's huge.
It's my favorite
Uh,
part.
Favorite part, and the look is you got the look,
Yeah.
but there's I think the biggest compliment I can pay you is that your work reminds me of Sherri Martel, like a young Sherri Martel, because
I get
the
that a lot.
you get that you
Hmm.
because you it's not like and this isn't a slight on every or other women's wrestlers, but they get in there, a lot of them, and they wrestle in a lot of ways like the men do. But
Hmm.
if you've ever seen a fight, a real fight, where two guys are squaring up and two women are, it's different.
Hmm.
There's little differences. And
Hmm.
watching how I mean, even the little things, when your lip was busted and you were working as a manager on the outside, somebody got canned to the floor, and you were going to, like, you were beating the crap out of them, and it was in a way that was like, oh man, that's how it would go down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how it would go
Yeah.
down. 2 a.m. at the club afterwards,
Yeah.
if somebody had words, and I
Yeah.
go, that's awesome, because nobody does that. Nobody. You you here's what it is. You look, talk, and work like exactly on brand with what is to be expected. And that's not like, oh, you're just what's expected. Like, it all adds up is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And it's there's no disconnect. There's no holes in your game. And I
Yeah.
really I know that can be so tough to feel you're at that level of man, like I'm feeling it. Like I found my voice.
Yeah.
I found my who I am in the ring.
I
What?
definitely feel plenty of holes in my game still. I think the difference between me and a lot of people is I know who I am. I know what I would
Mm,
say in this situation. I know what I would do in this situation. And that's in the ring and outside of the ring. So it's easier for me to play that. But as far as like my in-ring ability, I want to be better. That's
yeah, you can never.
like my biggest critique, man. Oh, yeah.
Is in ring that you would say?
I
Like,
would
what
say, yeah.
about your in ring
Just a lot of things.
specifically?
Okay, I might be I'm picky, but my posture in the ring. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have bad posture now, so I need to, sit up. It's just a lot of little things. I look for the little things. I think people are more worried about like moves and spots and everything. I'm more worried about what I look like when I shot you off and where I shot you off and, like where my face is in the camera when I take a move, where am I looking? Just like
The
smaller
in-betweens.
that I think matter. Yeah. And
Yeah.
um yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm always working on. But I'm always learning and I get caught up sometimes because I'm literally built to be a TV superstar. It's ingrained in my brain how to work TV, how to be this larger than life persona, how to work my character into my wrestling. And you go out on the indies and they just want to have a bunch of, spots and the matches don't mean anything and there's no storyline or anything like that. And I find myself like almost falling out of love with wrestling again because I'm like, man, none of these girls even want to wrestle me because I do nothing. I'm all character, all personality. Yeah. And they want to do a bunch of stuff
And kick out of everything. And it means
yeah,
nothing.
and I'm just like, I don't do all that, and I stand on that. But then again, I start getting in my own head sometimes, and I'm like, well, like what they don't think I can wrestle too, like I can do all these things, I can. So then I go do it, but then guess what? I have a match, and there's no Hollyhood Haley J. I'm just wrestling, and who cares? The matches are not the same when I don't bring this personality, and I'm so focused on what I have to do next. Like, no, just go and work and feel it. I feel everything. I feel your energy. I feel my energy. When I go out of the curtain, I can tell if the house is full or not. I feel everything. So like, why does anyone else just feel it?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong though. To get that granular, to get like the devil's in the details, and what separates the good from the great are those details. Like when
anybody can learn how to wrestle. You can teach anyone how to do an arm ring or a backflip, any of that shit. But like, why? Why are you doing it?
How many people can work on building the levels to the first shoulder to tackle? All right, that irritates me. The second one, okay, man, you know what I mean? Like the little. How many people can understand that you're looking past the people because you're so egotistic? Like just little, right? Like how you breathe when you said posturing. I'm going
posture, all these things. Yeah, even my pins. I'll pin with my back to hard cam, and I'll be trying to lean back and look at the camera versus just being on the proper side. And I'm just like, just the little things. And I know everyone always says like you're nitpicking or whatever. And it doesn't matter to me what you guys think. Because if I'm going to watch my match back, it's for a reason. I'm not watching the spot, especially if this is not a storyline and there's not anything that I need to, keep going or, make sure to get in the match. I'm just working. And
story gimmick business. Gimmick business.
A lot of people don't like that though, man.
No, but it's true. It's
crazy.
Good. Yeah.
Crazy. I hate. Go ahead.
No, you the boss.
I was gonna say I hate when people ask me. I got asked on the panel at WrestleCade like what was my favorite match, and I probably had a horrible political answer because I'm not very good at expressing myself. But I think I said something along the lines like, I don't really have a favorite match as long as I'm getting a payday or something like that. Like I'm here for the money. But in reality, I have favorite stories. Like all these matches that I've had, they're all the same to me unless it was a story and it had a build and an end, a middle, or a beginning, middle, and end. I have a favorite story. It was probably the Netflix, Me and Mom. I think it told a fantastic story. They shined a great light, I wish Mom would have beat me up a little bit more, especially since I was winning and, doing the redemption, doing the ultimate babyface turn. I think I should have got that ass whooping per se. If I was a young child acting up, pop, pop, pop. Okay, now you act right. I wish I would have got that in there, but the storytelling that there was, it was great. Mwah, beautiful. Had people crying. Yeah. People were crying at the end of that shit. So I was like, favorite story, I got you, but that's not the question they asked. They asked favorite match. And I'm like, man, it's not really clicking for me. I have had so many, and I'd love to say, yeah, this is my favorite, but there's always something that happens where I'm like nitpicking it, and there's something I don't like. So I hate
the wrestling. The wrestling doesn't like it. What do you it, like? I don't mean to say it, but it's like, what were you Mark here? Like we're storytellers, not wrestlers, right?
Yeah,
like that's
exactly.
I'm a
storyteller.
Right. When you say those things, I go, Okay, yeah, this is why I like Haley. She gets it. Like,
Yeah.
um, now when you after Netflix, there were opportunities arising. AEW, I know you had a TV match. Felt um, you did great, but it was like you got this
Yeah.
girl here. What are we doing? Are we just
Well, so here's the thing about AEW. Um, this is all, up in the air. Could
yeah,
be,
could be.
could accusations or whatever. Um, AEW, I was pretty high up on the totem pole. I actually had a couple matches there, and then one actually on TV. And I remember I knew I was doing something because we was in Memphis, and they tried to get me to go sit out in the crowd. And you know me, okay, I do whatever you guys ask, whatever you need. She starts going to, usher me out there, and the whole crowd starts to keep game, and they start chanting my name, and she automatically turned me around and put me right back in the back, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, just like it's whatever, just takes off, and I'm like, you
So,
know,
sorry, I got over. Whoops.
yeah, that felt good to me. But then uh we were in Louisville, Kentucky, man. I was supposed to, wrestle Billy Starks for the only dark match, card subject to change. But that's what the two people who booked me told me I was doing. So, me and Billy are sitting here, kind of chit chatting. And I don't even know if I want to name drop because I don't think that would be good for me.
Okay,
Somebody
you don't have
come
to.
up to me and was just like, someone in the office, obviously,
Yeah.
come up and was like, oh, you already know. And I didn't think I was supposed to know what I was doing yet. It wasn't on the board. So I was like, oh, no, we're just, bullshitting. This is, hometown for both of us, whatever. It's just been cool. And he was like, no, it's you guys. You got 10 minutes, whatever. Whoop, whoop. I'm like, bet. Me and Billy, like, this is the match that's going to get me signed for sure. Right. So I go somewhere. I don't know, get my bag, go back to the section. I get my bag and I go into the makeup room and Billy's getting her face done. And I ask her, where am I supposed to go change or whatever? And she's crying. And I'm like, I already knew. I was like,
Yeah.
why are you crying? And she was like, I'm not wrestling you anymore. I'm wrestling Layla Gray. And I'm like, okay, it's fine, and she was upset because that was going to be
Mhm.
something special for us. That's both of our hometown. We started together and then now we made it to the big stage.
Yeah.
So she was upset and I'm like, oh, it's okay. It is what it is. Boom. Got my little bag, tuck my tail, go right back to the little jobber section. And I was like, sitting there talking to Jerry Lynn. God bless his soul. I love that man.
Yeah.
I was sitting there talking to Jerry Lynn. I think he was telling me that my little drop kick thing or my little trip was didn't look real, looked weak. So do a drop kick or something instead, right? And someone walked up to him and was like, "You're the agent for the second dark match." And I was like, "Oh, so there must be another dark match." And I was like, "Oh, who is it?" And they were like, "It's you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Who am I wrestling?" And they're like, "Taya." And I was like, "Oh, I'm about to get my ass whooped." Okay. I was like, "Okay, thank you." Yeah, like okay.
Right.
And then I tried to go find her and she was busy. She got the match last minute as well. So they're trying to rush and do her makeup and everything. And she was just kind of like, just listen to me out there. And I'm like, bet, sis, I'm good at that. Yeah. And then yeah, so I wrestled her instead. I still got the match, but apparently what happened was in the locker room, Eric ended up getting booked as well. And I hadn't talked to him in a couple months. Last that I did, I went through his phone. He cheated on me. I seen all these little things, and I was upset with him. I was really heartbroken. Okay,
Hmm.
so I see him for the first time. I don't know how long, and I guess he peeps everyone, Chris Jericho, all the important people coming and speaking to me, or even just acting like I belong. I would say,
Yeah.
and yeah, he came up and tried to talk to me and start talking about our relationship and stuff there. And
At AEW backstage
yeah,
before.
yeah. So then I took him behind the black curtain where I thought nobody was and cussed him slick the fuck out and told him to leave me alone. And I guess the wrong person saw somebody somewhere and,
Oh man, god damn.
words got around or whatever. But it was crazy because apparently he wasn't booked and he wasn't supposed to be there. And they ended up making him leave. And I'm like, if everyone hates him, we're all on the same page here. Why am I in trouble too? I still got my match and everything, but they never used me after that. And I'm just like, I can't win or lose. You know what I'm saying? I'm literally telling him to get away from me so I can do the right thing. But I guess I go about it the wrong way. And yeah,
Still paying for the sins of the past. It's like,
but I had to learn. It's once again a lesson that had to be learned. I have to learn how to deal with people that know how to push my emotional buttons or that know
mhm.
how, I have to learn to deal with them and just go about it. You know what? Booker T, shout out to Booker T. He gave me this rule, and it's the 99, 100% rule or whatever. And he's like, if you feel 99% on it, shut the fuck up. Don't speak. But if you feel 100% on it, then speak on it 100% of the times. But be prepared to be fired or pay the consequences, And I'm like, you know
Yeah,
what? I feel that because there's a lot of things that I speak on just because I'm like, that's not true or whatever. I'm just trying to be real. And it's not beneficial to me. It's not even worth it to say anything. It's not going to help me. It's most likely going to hurt me just to speak up. So if it doesn't have anything to do about my child, my son, then I don't give a fuck. I'm not speaking
yeah.
about anything else. I'm not doing it.
Do you wish, like, I mean, I think back on that, like in that situation, if I were in your shoes, I can't imagine not doing the same thing and
I thought I
uh
did the right thing.
but probably, I mean, no selling them
Exactly.
completely. That's what
That's
they
what you should.
that's
Hmm.
what they were. That's the lesson there. Just
I
absolute,
thought
but
I did
that's so
great.
hard.
Any other time, I would have probably punched him right in the face. So
Right.
like, I thought I was doing something. I thought I did so good.
But
And then the
it's
match
it
with Taya was great, so it wasn't like, I don't know.
yeah. You know, it's tough, dude, because you got okay, so that was AEW. And when
Yeah,
an opportunity comes along for a tryout with WWE, and they
Taya.
catch wind of you, right? Of
Yes.
course. There's star power here. We can do something with this girl. She has
Yeah,
it.
man. They really hyped me up for sure. That's the craziest part, I think. They got the call. They were really excited, and then the day before I'm supposed to fly out, I get a call from their medical team that is like, we need a clear MRI and a clear EEG and a clearance letter from your doctor. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, really? Y'all tell me
Yeah.
this like literally the day before. So I'm like, I try to go to the doctor and I tried to sneak a little, hey, I just need a clearance for sports, and that didn't work out for me. And then it just, my life came crashing down. That's for sure. I had to call him back and let him know that obviously I wasn't medically cleared and I couldn't go to the tryout. So after that, the medical, they sent me to a doctor, a sports neurologist. They said that mattered versus a regular neurologist. So they sent me to a sports neurologist. I ended up getting cleared, but it took me 6 months to be seen. And by that point, it was almost a year since the Netflix thing had dropped. And I guess my little 15 minutes of fame was up. And, I called them and I was like, hey, I'm cleared. And they were just kind of like, good for you. Keep going. We just signed, 6 new girls and, your Netflix thing was kind of a year ago. Like, I'll have to repitch you. It is what it is. And I'm like, so then I start having another midlife crisis. I'm like, damn, I just worked so hard to get cleared. I thought my life was over the first time. And then I finally get cleared. And now you telling me you don't even want me? What is happening? So then I go in freak out mode. That's where I start talking to Booker T. He's awesome. He hit me up actually to be in the Sherri Martel Classic. And he kind of said the same thing, like, I see something in you, just give me 6 months with you and we can really turn it into, something great. And that's what I'm trying to do, go out there and give him the time. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
No, but you gotta go because you've been in OVW so long, right?
So
And
long.
they
I know I've been at the top, the bottom, the middle. There's nowhere
it's
else to go.
time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's time to in my opinion, it's time to put your connections out. Call Conan,
Mm-hmm.
AAA in
Yeah.
Mexico. Call stay on Booker, stay on call QT and Cody and anywhere that has opportunities to get you in front of the right people and the shot callers because I
Exactly.
I I, I truly believe a lot of times you'll get an excuse like, well, 6 months has passed, and excuse me, but like it wasn't like I've gotten any worse,
Yeah,
and the Netflix special didn't, like you guys are gonna make me the star that I am capable of
aspire
being.
to be. Exactly.
Yeah. So what does
Ugh.
what does Haley J want um from the business at this point? Because I know it sounds like, and we've all come there, it's happened to us all. There's people, and I think there's people that act like they want to make it. They say they want to make it. They say all the things, they do all the things, and they want to make it, but they don't do the actual work that you got to do, the phone
Right.
calls, the diplomatic stuff. You're somebody who I think, as it's do or die, right? what
Yep.
what do you want right now out of the business?
Well, let me just say I've made a lot of sacrifices for the business. And, it'd be nice to get some of that, see something out of that. The biggest sacrifice I was talking about earlier that I made, it had a lot to do with my toxic relationship, but it also had a lot to do with me getting that phone call and being told that I was going to go get that tryout. Because I know just when I get my foot in the door, once the right people see me, they'll be like, we can do something with her. I know that. I stand on that, 100% believe it. I know it's going to happen. So when I got the call, thought the time was going to come, boom. I'm still in this shitty relationship with, Darkstorm. And I'm like, this is my escape. This is my escape from the escape. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so I actually sent my son, who has been with me his whole first 5 years of life, and I always have to think about, someone else other than me. He's the whole reason I'm doing this. It's my whole world. I sent him to live with his dad because I'm in a shitty situation. I don't like my kids seeing this. I'm about to go to Orlando and be a big superstar. I don't want to continue to keep him with me. I feel like that was selfish when I don't have the best support system all here. My mom's got a job. She got to work. I don't have people to watch him and do everything like I need to, like he has in Frankfurt with his dad. His dad has another son and daughter. He has a brother and sister out there. He's still with his girl. They have a way better relationship than me and Eric had, just better role models. He has his granny. He goes to school with his whole family. He's in sports. He's in basketball. He wouldn't have time to do any of that, if he was with me. So I was trying to be very unselfish and when I made that decision, but it's definitely the hardest decision that I've ever made in my freaking life because as a mother, I feel like I'm giving up my child because I'm not doing a very good job at, providing for him, even though he's always taken care of. But let's be honest, I lived in the hood in Louisville and me and Eric would fight. Eric would leave me there knowing damn well that we found guns in our yard. Like I can't even take the trash out without police pulling guns on us. Like people died in the front street. Like there's always something going on and you'll just up and leave us there. Our back door didn't even lock because he kicked it in and I'm just there in the house, with my son. And I'm like, this is stupid. My son deserves better than this. And if anything happens, it's not me. I'm getting my son out of the situation, period. Even if I'm still going to be sitting here, I'm going to make sure that he's not. So I was blessed enough to have that. My mom didn't have that option. So we had to sit and slither in that. We went everywhere with her. We went to work, what I'm saying, all that. But I have the option, Deshaun, we have a very great co-parenting relationship. I can see my son whenever I can. They're very good at, calling me every day and letting him talk to him so I can see how he does at school and everything. And his sports, all these things. He gets to be a kid and not have to be scared because, a grown ass man screaming at us or, whatever. So yeah, that was like the hardest thing. That's my biggest sacrifice. Yeah. Try not to get
Yeah,
emotional about
I know.
speaking on.
I got a little like, teared up
I
hearing
didn't even
about it.
cry on Netflix. I'm crying on your
Uh,
show.
yeah,
But that's my baby, man. That's my twin. And that was hard. So it has to be worth it.
yeah,
Everything is for a reason.
yeah, yeah. It's it sucks. It sucks to sacrifice that much, and it sucks to have people have preconceived notions, and it sucks to make mistakes, know it, and like your work, the time it takes to kind of correct those things and
Yeah, to recover.
to recover, to change people's viewpoints,
Yeah,
right?
that's the
Because
hardest part, definitely.
I
Once they hear
think,
something, you're automatically cut off. Like it's all word to mouth. That's why I was so happy that you were in the situation when it came to Mickie, because if Mickie just went into the locker room and listened to all the other girls, guess what? There was 4, 5, 6 of those girls talking bad about me. There's only one of me. You know what I mean? But then here you are, outside perspective, don't know me, don't know them. You watching, and you were like the third eye. So I'm very blessed to have you.
well, you didn't let any of us down, and you're still pushing. There's I think through the it just from my I've been fortunate, or whatever the case may be, to be in those rooms with some of those decision makers, and
Mm.
I can tell you probably their thoughts were, oh man, like, everybody smokes weed, but it was right on Front Street. Oh man, like the relationship, that could be some baggage, that could be a
Yeah.
problem. Oh,
Oh
the
yeah.
epilepsy, is that a prop? Like,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, this is the wrestling business. We're
We're
circus
people
folks.
and we're
Yeah, we're
crazy. Yeah,
people.
we wouldn't
Yeah.
be in this business if we weren't crazy. Like, let's be for real.
I think I think if you, you need an opportunity and a new canvas to
Hmm.
paint upon, to show WWE, AEW, TNA, whomever. But obviously, WWE is top of the pack, to show them how far you've come. Is
Right.
there anything you'd say to them, like, if you had the opportunity, if they came to you and said, "What has changed? Like, what's different?"
Yeah, I would say I've grown up a lot since then. You're not gonna catch me smoking anything out on the front door or anything like that. And I mean, I think you need people like me.
Yeah, you do. You need the real. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's how I really feel. I mean, I just think, people are scared to get heat. And if I'm not everyone's cup of tea, that's okay. I became this ultimate babyface because of the Netflix thing. I was very vulnerable, and I told my story. And like you said, the reason why you want me to speak on, my story now, because that um is relatable to people. Other people have been through the same situations, and they related to that, and they felt that, and they instantly became a fan. And it's okay, I love my people. But in this wrestling business, playing this character, Hollyhood. Everyone was so scared to touch it at first because of the cancel culture and all that, this political stuff. And I'm just like, if I'm so bad and everyone hates me so much, I'm doing a great job at being a heel. Why would no, does no one want to capitalize on this? Because it's not like I have all this drama in the locker room. You go now, and before it was a lot of people needed to see me and maybe meet me, because you'll see so many people talking shit on the internet, and then they're on the show with me, and then they're kind of quiet, they sit back, and I feel like they watch. I feel like they're kind of observing who I am, what I do, like my mannerisms. Am I going to slip up? Is this really who she is? Whatever. And then once they realize I am who I am and they come and talk to me, they always like me. Always. It's never been, oh, it's always,
Hmm.
I thought this, but it's actually, you're pretty cool. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I got to let people learn that for themselves. I can't sit here and scream at you, oh, I'm so cool. That doesn't work. You just go ahead and do your observing and everything. Um, I don't understand why a company wouldn't want to capitalize off that and just like let me play that role. Let me be that.
I've been on shows with you. I've ran shows where I've been in charge of putting it all together, and you've been right there. And I'm telling you, sometimes I forget you're that, like, you were quiet as a church mouse, just chilling in the corner.
I
And
was
it's
probably
like,
trying to be on my best behavior then, because I ain't never quiet. I'm loud. I told Chris Jericho that he was my dad. My first time I seen him at AEW, I tried to convince him that he was my dad. I'm like, oh, I made it this far just so I can meet you. I was born in '99, Kentucky, and he was like really thinking, he's like, you can't do that. But I'm that type of person. Like I like to joke and laugh. Like you're
Yeah.
no better than me. And just because you may be on this level and making more money than me, you're still a person. If I, stab you real quick, you're gonna bleed just like I would. So I've never really been about like, oh, that starstruck or even like marking out situations. Like we're all people at the end of the day. And if you really act like you can't speak to me because of a position you're in, that's ridiculous. You
And
need real life help.
and if they think you're a certain way because of what you portray on TV,
Yeah.
then they're a mark. Like you gotta.
That's true too. Like I don't know. Everyone thinks I have this reputation of being a hothead, which I was. That's the craziest part. And you still might catch me being passionate on some things, but it's not coming from like a malicious intent. It's me probably being loud because Edge got back from the ring and I'm blown up and I'm trying to get it all out, as fast as I
Mhm.
can. But, I care about what I'm doing and not only what I'm doing, but what we're all doing. Whatever place that I go, I want to do good business for the company. What can I do to make this place better? How can I leave this place in better shape than what I found it in? That's what I think. It doesn't matter where I'm at, where I'm going. I always try to do my best and make people, look great and, make everyone happy. But I don't know.
You can't
I
make
don't know.
everyone happy, Haley.
Yeah, man.
I think, not to get too corny here, but I think yours is a story of somebody who circumstances and situations put them in a very tough spot, and just living life. You made decisions that anybody in that situation would have made, but when the rubber met the road, you made the right choices, which
Yeah,
were the most difficult ones. And that's what's
absolutely.
important. And that's what makes you a beautiful person and a good person. And to have a star quality on top of it and amazing talent and gifts on top of that, to me, it's a no brainer, right? Um, I think, and again, like you said, my story is my story, and I have no doubt you're going to write the book one day, and um, you're gonna be a huge star, but you'll have the wisdom that you want and
Yeah,
need to make the best of it. But right
right.
now, I think there's no doubt in my mind. There's young girls or young boys or children who were in the situation that you were in growing up, who feel
Mm-hmm.
unheard, hopeless, helpless. Um, that it's just this is it, and there's nothing.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. I don't matter, and so nothing I do matters.
yeah,
You've proven that is not the case. It's not easy,
yeah.
but it's not the case. What would you say to anyone who may be in that situation and looking to get out
I,
or feels helpless?
listen, you know, you gotta want it for yourself. I think a lot of people, uh, say that they want something in life, but they don't really do the work. And that's not necessarily in wrestling. That's in life. Like mentally, I believe that you create your own reality and the way you speak is very important. And you speak negative things all the time, then you're going to constantly get negative things in your life. You speak positive things and you'll get positive things. And I have exercised that in life and practiced that. And I have learned that, oh, when I speak good things happen. When I speak bad things continue to happen and I'll get in these different cycles. So I think it's really important that you know and understand that um, you have to do the work within yourself, to want better for yourself. Me, obviously, I had a reason. My baby boy popped out, and I was like, look at this beautiful piece of life that I have to, take care of now. This is on me. So that was my motivation. I really wanted it. I wanted better for myself. But I also, everybody, I'm a human at the end of the day. I went through like depression, postpartum depression. That's why I have this big old tattoo right here. It's hiding a scar where I tried to commit suicide. Like there's people
Hmm.
out there who are feeling worthless, and I had a good support system. My friends were there for me during that time specifically. And Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I listen to a lot of music. That's from since I was a child, sleeping on a concrete floor, getting beat up while my mom was in jail. I would listen to music all the time, and that really helps me. But advice, you gotta want it for yourself, and you gotta go get it because ain't nobody gonna do it for you. No one. You gotta do it, and just remember that you can. I think that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize that. They don't know, but I know, and you need to know too. If you can see it, it can happen. Period. Yeah.
Yeah, if there it is. If you can see her, you can be her, and here you are.
Yeah.
Not everybody, obviously, it's not like everybody can go be a wrestler, but
Right.
they can find their passion.
There's something.
There's
Yes.
something. Everybody has
Hmm.
that potential and that value, and I think that your story is so goddamn powerful and meaningful, and somebody um, out there is watching you going, I can do this.
Yeah,
Like
man.
that.
Even my little cousin, I don't get to see her. She had her own go through things with her mom or whatever, but she messaged me and, she tells me how inspiring I am and how much she loves me. And then I'll go see on her like Instagram. Keep in mind, I haven't, seen her, spoke to her since we were kids. And she's got me like plastered all over her page and stuff. And I'm just like, I'm talking to mom, like, what? Like, Liz is obsessed. And mom's like, she's like, she loves you. She really looks up to you. And I'm like, wow. That's when I start to realize, like, dang, maybe I really am doing something. I went to the UK and there was this bodybuilder guy named Steven who's super nice. His mom just died, and he had went through some things himself, and he wasn't bodybuilding. He was unmotivated, depressed, and he met me and kind of told me his story and cried. And that's when I'm sitting here like what? Like people, I really have something.
It's
So
responsibility and power that you
yeah,
have on your shoulders. We don't really see our because we walk around in our bodies, looking in the mirror at ourselves 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Maybe, and there's a lot of when you grow up tough and have tough situations, there's a lot of confidence and esteem and just shit inside that is really tough to figure out. And I think to hear you say that and realize like, wow, like what I'm
yeah,
doing is cool and important and no better, no worse than the next
yeah,
person, but the indomitability of my human spirit is very real, and that's
exactly.
what people can feel. This swagger walking, shit talking, rarefied air breathing
That's
dichotomy
me.
that is Hollyhood Haley J. Haley, I can't thank you enough for being on the LiMPiN AiNT Easy and being on this show and
LiMPiN AiNT easy.
being my friend, being my homie, and I want nothing but the best for you. And if I can ever help or do anything to help your goals and dreams become reality, I'm right there to do it. Any parting words for the world of wrestling, the world around you, anything, anybody, anywhere, anytime, what?
Mm, I would say, let me give some inspirational here.
No, no pressure, no
I would
pressure
I
with
would
the
say
show.
no, like look. Okay. Maybe what I want to be known for. Okay. I want to be known for being this funny, good, honest person who, was always honest no matter how hard it was or no matter how people took it. And also I want to leave people better than I found them in the wrestling business, better than I found it. So do that. And then yeah, follow me on all social media at Hollyhood Haley J. That's my only at. So if somebody else is texting you from some Haley J account asking for money, it's not me. I'm never gonna ask y'all for money unless y'all are trying to buy my merch.
So it's at Hollyhood HOLLY
Y O O
HOOD
D H A
H.
L E Y J. It's all smushed together.
And we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
have producer Tony put that up there. And then
Yeah,
is that Instagram and Twitter X?
Facebook, all of it.
All of it. All
All
of
the
it, the whole
social
deal.
medias. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got it on lock,
Yeah.
girl. All right, to your success and keeping it trill. You're the realist.
Blessing and a curse.
I got a little teared up here.
I didn't even cry on Netflix. I'm crying on your show.